try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check is I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, that's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession, all in his possession. You got their attention, I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they're scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try to change, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off, I'ma break off from the weak minds. They can stay soft, you can change lives, you create thoughts. Never waste time, you got one shot, you got one life. Better pop off, what do you like? Make a dream job, no 9-5, no mean boss. Just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check is I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, that's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession, all in his possession. You got their attention, I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing.
What up, Finn fans? Welcome to another episode of the Finn Posse Podcast. I am your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. How is everyone doing out there? What's today? Wednesday morning. Wednesday, hump day. And today is the second full day of off-season workouts that will be open to the public, so we should get a more in-depth look at what the team's looking like in the early stages of the off-season program. Get an opportunity to see these Dolphins. Now, some things were released, but obviously it's hard if the media is doesn't have access. So hopefully we get some better in-depth look at what the team's looking like. And hopefully they're looking good. Because, even though we have some problem areas, I think this team in this season can be very successful. Still. We have some holes at the cornerback position, which we've discussed in great detail. But I still think that this team, with the amount of talent that it has, can still be highly successful. Now, again, we've discussed what success looks like. Is success making the playoffs? Is success winning a playoff game? Is success going to the divisional round? Is success the championship round? Is success only a Super Bowl victory will do? Only a Super Bowl victory will do for some people. And then the consequences of what happens if the season's not a success. What are the consequences? What are the overall consequences? Does Stephen Ross finally put his foot down and make the necessary changes if we don't meet the status quo. The status quo. Let's say hello to our people that join us on a consistent basis. And I love each and every one of you that take the time and the energy to come join the show daily. It means a lot. It really does. And I'll forever give you guys your gratitude. Good morning, Michael, Jose, Miller, Bonnie. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. So there's a few things, and I got a few clips that maybe you've seen or maybe you haven't seen of. First out, I made the thumbnail, Tyreek Hill. Listen, you guys know my thoughts by now. I have this I'm trying to think of the right words to use for my feelings about Tyreek Hill. I'm very protective of Tyreek Hill. I'm very defensive of Tyreek Hill just because, as Dolphin fans, and you know my pain, the pain of being a Dolphin fan. And we've just suffered so much. And we've had some really bad teams that weren't even near exciting, not even exciting, just horrible teams that, and we didn't even have to be horrible. There was a lot of years that we were just mediocre without anything to really cheer for, nothing to get excited about. And Tyreek Hill, when he was traded here, and I was never a real big fan of Tyreek. When people used to draft him high in mock or in fantasy drafts and stuff, I'd be like, he's a gadget player. He's not really that good of a player. And that was early in his career, obviously, before I got to see what type of player he really was. I really thought he was just a gadget player. I didn't think that he was going to have a high level of success in the NFL. I thought his game was solely based upon these long touchdowns. And if you took that away from him, I didn't think he had very much in him. And obviously that was very early in his career. But then I just seen that he was an all-around playmaker, and he continued to make play after play after play, exciting play for the Kansas City Chiefs. And then we traded for him, and he came here, and he didn't disappoint, folks. He didn't disappoint. He was absolutely phenomenal in his first 2 years here. And then last year happened, and I think last year was a disappointing year for everyone. Obviously, Tua got hurt early. It all started week one, really. It all started week one. Jacksonville came to play us in Miami. We had high expectations. Tyreek's getting arrested outside the stadium, tossed on the ground. Jacksonville's beating us most of the game. We score a late touchdown to beat Jacksonville, and we're like, all right, that was a crazy week one, but we're going to get on track. We win week two, and then we have to go to Buffalo, and Tua suffers the concussion. And it seems like we never got our feet on the ground last year. We never were able to settle in and become the team that we were supposed to be. You know what I mean? We were never able to become the team we were supposed to be. Just so many things piled on top of each other. And then Tua got hurt, and our backup quarterbacks couldn't do anything with our offense. And we were just horrible, and we dug ourselves a hole. And then Tua came back, and we lost a couple of games that we should have won off stupid mistakes, and we were just in a hole. We started to dig ourselves out of that hole, started to make our way towards the playoffs, and it was just a little too late. We couldn't beat some of the superior teams in the league to give ourselves a shot to get into the playoffs. And to be honest, I don't think if we made the playoffs, we were going to do anything anyway. I mean, Tua finished the season he wasn't playing. I don't think he got put on IR, but he wasn't playing because of a hip pointer. So, I mean, what damage were we really going to do? And I just don't think we ever really got it going last year. And then this offseason, you expect big things. You think Stephen Ross comes out and says the status quo is not the status quo. Drama starts first thing right after the game against the Jets. Tyreek pulled himself out the game. Tyreek makes the comments after the game being frustrated, even though the guy didn't want to talk to the media. I don't justify his actions or his words, but again, he didn't want to talk to the media. He was forced into a scenario where a frustrated player went and said some shit that, maybe he meant, maybe didn't mean fully. Maybe it was frustration. Maybe, you know what I mean? Who knows? And then this offseason, we've dealt with the Tyreek issues off the field, which, a guy has, he's a troll. We know who he is. He is absolutely a troll. And I don't support all that little kid antics, all that troll shit. But I know when number 10 suits up for the Miami Dolphins on Sundays, he's dynamic and he gives us the best chance to win. And then we're dealing with the Jalen Ramsey bullshit. And we're dealing with Chris Greer not being overly aggressive in free agency. And, a lot of drama this offseason. But, I think the saving grace of this offseason is we had a very good draft. I'm very pleased with the draft that we had. If Tyreek is doing the things that he says he's doing and he can keep his nose clean, I'm excited about rejuvenated Tyreek Hill. Tyreek don't got no guaranteed money after this year. So we might get the best version of Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill playing for them future dollars. Let's be real. He's playing for them future dollars. So we might get the best version of Tyreek. We got a Tyreek Hill talking about 2,000 yards again. And, people can be like, oh, I don't want Tyreek to get 2,000 yards. That means we're force feeding them the ball, blah, 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 blah. Listen, this offense was highly successful force feeding Tyreek Hill the ball. And if we're force feeding Tyreek Hill the ball, that means other people are going to be wide open. Other people are going to be open. They got to make plays, though. They got to make plays. So, there's some things to be excited about. Obviously, we're waiting for June 1st for Jalen Ramsey to get his crybaby ass up out of here. Good riddance to you piece of garbage. You make me sick. I hope you know future success in anything you do in life. I don't wish bad upon his family. I don't wish bad upon him as far as his health is concerned. But as far as your NFL career, I hope you do nothing that is worth anything. I hope you have no more interceptions. I hope you are a bum wherever you go play. I hope that team instantly regrets trading for you. Instantly. Because eventually they will regret trading for you. They will regret bringing you a cancer into their locker room. But I hope they regret it instantly. I hope they regret it instantly. And sorry about this rant to start off. I wasn't really paying attention to the comments. I was just in my own world there for a second. Let me go up and see what y'all had to say. Sorry about that. But that's my feeling on stuff. That's my feeling on it. You know what I mean? Michael says cornerback Johnson. Yeah, he had an interception yesterday. Day one. Don't make too much out of it. Don't drink the Kool-Aid just yet. Don't drink the Kool-Aid just yet. Michael says everybody gets fired. Bonner had that orange jersey. Where there's smoke, there's usually fire. Listen, he got the orange jersey, but it was nothing to do with on-field. You know what I mean? Yesterday was the first day of OTA, so it was nothing he did on-field. So it must have been something that he did in a meeting or something like that. You want to see these players get the orange jersey because of their prior performance. Now, whoever has the orange jerseys today, I feel, I feel a little bit better about those guys. Raphael says, insane in the membrane. Our number 2 draft choice, Noah, has not signed his contract. Is he practicing? Yeah, he was there yesterday. He was there. He just trying to get that fully guaranteed money because one of these teams, I want to say it was the Texans, gave their 2nd round pick fully guaranteed money. Why not wait out for it? Jose says, hit that like button. Yes, please hit the like button. It's the only way I can grow. It's the only way this channel can grow. I appreciate every one of you guys that support the channel, but we got to hit the like button. I'm glad that you guys come and watch, but we got to hit the like button. I know it's a pain in the butt, and I hate to ask you guys to do it, but that's what needs to do it. That's what needs to happen so we can grow. Trade Ramsey to a shit team. I agree. And, they were talking about trading Ramsey and not trading Ramsey. And, I actually agree with Alan Poupart. He was like, you know what? If we can't, these teams that want to trade for Ramsey want us to pick up a big portion of his salary. I would absolutely not do that unless you're giving me a 3rd round draft choice. Unless you're giving me a 3rd, I am not picking up any of his salary. First off, he's a bargain at a 3rd round pick. He's still a bargain at a 3rd round pick. If we're giving him to you for a 4th, and you still want us to pick up some salary, you're crazy. He's one of the top 12 corners in this league, and you want us to pay him to play for you? Fuck out of here. Sorry about my language, but fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that shit. There's no way I'm doing that. And Alan Poupart was like, people are saying, why don't we just, force him to stay? Well, because he can be a cancer in the locker room, or, he can fake an injury and, oh, my ankle, I can't play. All right, cool. Then you sit his ass on the bench. You make him not play this whole year. You've seen how that's worked out for other players. You've seen players that have missed full years of an NFL season. They don't come back the same. He's going to be a year older without any football playing this year. What team is going to give him the big dollars? None. That's who. None. None are going to give him the big dollars at 32 years old and missing a full NFL season. Not to mention, the headache you're bringing in. So I would absolutely take Poupart's advice and play hardball with the guy. If you don't get the draft compensation that you're looking for, and these teams want you to pick up a huge portion of his salary, I mean, what other reason are you trading him? Yeah, he doesn't, him and Mike McDaniel don't get along, which I think's a joke that 2 grown men can't get together and work things out. But him and Mike McDaniel don't get along, blah, 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 blah. Play hardball. Play hardball. Listen, do not give him away for free. I would not do it. I'm not paying you to play somewhere else. That's just my opinion. Nah, Big C, no hating. Just get him out of here. Number 15 was practicing and running around. He was, Bonnie. What up, Cap? He really did. Michael Light, Brandon Jones, cornerback from Dallas. We got GM play hardball. Yeah, I mean, Brandon Jones was really hurt though. I mean, Brandon Jones, he hasn't played football since. I mean, he really had a career-ending injury. But let's take a look at Tyreek Hill and what he was saying at an individual workout he was having.
We're in the lab. This year we're in the lab, bro. We weren't in the lab how we're supposed to be last year, bro. I'm keeping the stat with y'all, gang. I fucked up. But having time to like realize like what got you here and just being grateful for like all of those opportunities and the people that like supported you and pushed you to like just be an absolutely different beast. Gotta put that work in when nobody's watching, bro. We're in the lab. This year we're in the lab, bro. We weren't in the lab how we're supposed.
He's in the lab. He's pushing. Listen, I think he's working extra hard. I think we're going to get the best version of Tyreek Hill possible. And I'm super excited for that. I'm super excited for that. He's lost some weight when he was in Kansas City. Yeah, I mean, I thought that too. I think he looks slimmer. He does look slimmer. Does that mean he's faster? That's a scary prospect. Does that mean he's more fragile? That's a scary prospect too. But I'm super excited that we could possibly be getting the best version of Tyreek possible. Because whether you like the guy or not, you got to admit the guy is an animal. The guy is an absolute animal. Here's some pictures from OTAs yesterday. Orange jerseys. You got Ethan Bonner, rare sighting from him. And Jalen Phillips. Jalen Phillips back on the practice field. That is a very promising. Listen, that's got to have you super excited for this defense. Because I think we expect Chubb to be back. I mean, Chubb was eligible to come back last year. Technically, he could have. Miami was trying to protect itself from injury guarantees. But I think we all had question marks whether Jalen will be ready for the beginning of the season. I think this shows that he absolutely will be. So we're gonna be starting the season, full throttle. Here's another one. Who we got? We got Chubb. We got Waddle. There's Jonah right there. Someone asked, is Jonah practicing? There's Jonah right there. Look at that calf muscle. Look how thin he is. Look how muscular he is. He's in great shape. There you got Ashton Davis. Look at, he's a very, very muscular safety from what I'm hearing. He's a big boy. And Afonso Malafano is even bigger. And then, of course, you got QB1. QB1 on the field, throwing the football around. You got to love that. And then you got your boy Bradley Chubb hitting the bags. Look at Chop look at Chop in the background. I think he looks considerably bigger this year. These are no pads, folks. I think Chop looks as big without pads this year as he did with pads last year. What do you think? Am I just tripping on that? I think he looks as big without pads this year as he did with pads last year. Am I tripping on that? Let me know. Let me know. What do you guys think about that? I think Chop looks as big without pads as he did with pads last year, which means he put on that muscle this year. Bigger, stronger Chop Robinson. He's got the speed, folks. He's got the speed. Very, very, very promising player. Very promising that we got 3 pass rushers. And I want to say they're top tier pass rushers. These guys are some of the best pass rushers in football, potentially. Let's take a look at another video from yesterday. And again, hopefully I don't get banged up for these. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. All right, here we go.
Let's go.
That's really good right there.
Let's go.
Boy's excited to be out there. That's Willie Gay. That's Willie Gay. The boy's super excited to be out there. Let's see. Here's another video of people coming out. You know, and it kills me. You're going to see a familiar face. Listen, if you're going to be there, why don't you just be there and play? You got Teron Armstead right there coming out. QB1, HN, Bottle.
Baby. In the house.
Dang, if he was Armstead, why don't you just come play, baby? Why don't you just come play? You at practice, come play. Come play. Come play with us. And here is the bigger video of yesterday. Ashton Davis. Chop.
How y'all feeling?
Guys racing. Look at that. That's Jalen Phillips, folks. Look at that. That's exciting to see him running, putting pressure on that Achilles. He's racing Bradley Chubb in the background, going the same speed as him. That's very promising, folks. That is very promising. Look at him coming up around that corner. Look at him. Boom. Look at him putting the torque on it. Going around that edge. No limitations. Day one. He's going to be healthy, folks. Look at the dip he's getting. Look at the dip he's getting. Getting low. Yeah. Yeah. Stop. Does that not get you pumped? Does that not get you pumped? No, Armstead's not coaching. You know, the players just show up and, you know, these players show up and hang out. I'm sure he's giving tips and, you know, his opinion. I'm sure he's given his 2 cents, and I'm sure he's helping out Patrick Paul. But no, he's not a coach. He's not part of the coaching staff. Nobody giving Miami a chance. I love it. Hope they stay healthy. And that's not easy to do in this heat. Yeah, I don't live in Florida, but I heard it's hot. I heard it's hot. Listen, I'm telling you, I think this team has great potential. I think this team can be very good. And again, it has a lot to do with the health. Obviously, the health. If our quarterback goes down, you know what that means. If we suffer the same amount of injuries we've suffered, we've had bad luck with injuries. We've had some really bad luck with injuries. And a lot of people are getting fed takes that don't. I never try to feed you something that I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and tell you a lie because it's my opinion and talk about it like it's a fact. You know what I mean? I'm never going to do that to you guys. And I think last night, and this is a little, you know what I mean? Like, TD is my boy, you know what I mean? But last night on the Dolphins Confidential with Omar and Alan Poupart, and this is where I disagree with Reason. You know what I mean? Reason can say that he breaks down film and he's this expert in this area, blah, 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 blah. Listen, there's no way that you know more about this team than the beat writers. There's no way. There's no way that you know more about this team than the beat writers. They, no matter how many little pieces of video we see, they see a million more in-person throws, a million more runs, a million more hits. They just see more than us. They have more access. They get to see it in person. You know what I mean? And TD had some takes, and Allen and Omar kind of shut him down. He said Tua can't throw the deep ball. And they're like, listen, bro, he can make that throw. He can make that throw. He can set his feet and make that throw. And TD was like, no, like, if a guy, he can make the throw if it's at the start of a play. If he knows he's going deep to Tyreek, he can make that throw, but he can't see Tyreek deep without underthrowing it. Listen, if Tyreek's already 40 yards downfield and Tyreek's 6 yards open, by the time that football could possibly get there with how fast Tyreek is, Tua would have to throw the ball 80 yards. I don't know too many players that are throwing the football 80 yards. So, of course, the ball's going to be underthrown. If Tyreek's already running full speed and he's got 6 yards on the defender, and Tyreek's 30 yards down the field, and Tua sees him and decides to throw it, how many yards can Tyreek make up? How many yards can Tyreek go before that football could possibly get there? You're talking about a guy that runs the 40 in 4.3 seconds. How long does it take a ball to go in the air 65 yards? Like, come on. Of course the ball's going to be underthrown. And how many of those plays do you see yearly anyway? If someone's open 40 yards down the field, usually it's a jump ball situation, or, you know, they found a hole in the zone, and it's a pass where the receiver has stopped anyway. They're still not running vertical. I don't know how many receivers 40 yards downfield are still running vertical. They're not. Because by the time that quarterback, if you haven't already thrown the ball and I'm 40 yards downfield, it's not going to happen. It's not going to work. You know what I mean? So I think he was absolutely wrong on his take that Tua can't throw the deep ball. Some people just dislike Tua so much and think that Tua can't get the job done. That's a false take. And they absolutely let him know that no, he can make that throw. What you're saying is, Tyreek used to outrun Patrick Mahomes passes. What do you think he's going to do with Tua? Raphael, what throw can he not make? Because they're sitting there and they're telling you that he can throw. He can make those throws, and they sit there and they watch him in practice. They sit there and see him firsthand. You see what they allow you to see. You see some plays in a game, and you see what they allow you to see. They sat there, and they've probably watched thousands of more passes to us thrown than we have. Thousands. Tua can throw the ball plenty far enough. Plenty far enough. That is the least of my concern when it comes to Tua. A wide receiver that's going to be open deep typically happens within the first 20 yards. I have faith that Tua can throw the ball 50 yards consistently. Now 55, 60, yeah. But 50, he can throw the ball 50 yards. How many pass plays happen over 50 yards, 50 air yards in the NFL a year? Look it up. Someone look that up. How many completions happen in the NFL per year with the ball travels over 50 yards in the air? I bet you it's a very small percentage. I'm just, I bet you it's a very small percentage. And then another one is my boy TD tried to say Jalen Waddle was absolutely a number one receiver. He wouldn't trade him for a first round draft pick. And they were like, listen, how many games have you seen Jalen Waddle take over? How many games have you seen him take over? Tua can't even hit open target that's not moving. You remember franchise put on video, Tua can throw deep balls when wide receiver wide open, but Big C, when you have seen Tua throw deep balls and hit, and first off, how many passes have you seen of players throwing the ball 50 yards in the air, hitting them in the breadbasket? Come on, Raphael. If he gives you a catchable ball, catch in stride, I've seen Tua hit people lots of times with the ability to run the ball afterwards. And again, you know how hard it is to put the ball. Tyreek Hill is fast, bro. Patrick Mahomes struggled hitting him in stride. Again, I mean, Tua in 2023 led the league in deep balls. Most of our receivers are fast. Jalen Waddle's fast. Jalen Waddle jumps for the pass anyway, so it don't matter if you could hit him in stride or not. He's going to jump for it. And let's be real that, if we're going deep, it's going to one of those two guys typically. Typically, it's going to one of those two guys. Waddle doesn't allow him to throw the ball in stride. Waddle jumps for every pass. Waddle jumps for every pass. Aqua, I want to say that it stopped because of the wrist injury. It stopped because we were unable to run the ball. Austin Jackson got hurt, and our ability to run the ball went downhill after that. We weren't able to run the ball consistently last year. That really affected the deep passing game. Waddle does have a bad habit of jumping. Waddle's not a number one receiver. Facts. You guys can be in denial if you want to, but he's not a number one receiver. Waddle's not a number one receiver. How many games have you seen Waddle take over? And they gave a perfect thing, the difference between a number one receiver and a number two receiver. And Waddle's a very good number two receiver. Waddle is a good receiver. I'm not taking that away from him. He's a good number two receiver. But number one, he is not. How many games have you seen Jalen Waddle dominate? And people say the Jets game, and maybe he had one other good game. Like, what games has he dominated? Tyreek, they give stories. Tyreek shows up to 70 deep balls over 50 yards, according to Reddick. So you can name the games in 7 years. In 7 years on this team. Yeah, I mean, you would like to think it's on coaching, but damn, bro, like you're in your 7th year in the NFL and you're still doing that bad habit. And I'm sure he's been told about it. 70 deep balls over 50 yards, according to Reddick. In the air, 50 air yards. Because I find that hard to believe. 70 deep balls or 50 air yards. I find that hard to believe. I would say there was 70 50-yard touchdown passes. I don't believe there was 70 50 air yards. Bonnie, I agree. I think he's better than an average quarterback. Is he elite? No. I think the elite conversation ends with 4 or 5 guys. Honestly, elite. I'm not putting too many names up there. And then maybe you got a second tier, and then that are really, really good, and then I don't know exactly where you place Tua. Some games he looks like he's a top 5 player. And it's hard to even say that because you got these players, you got these new age players like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, that it's just not fair. It's just not fair the things they bring to the table. Because you gotta, to be on their level, you got to be a super athlete too that can run the ball like a fucking running back. You know what I mean? Like, so you can't just be a good quarterback anymore. You got to be the superb athlete to really be in that upper echelon. elite quarterbacks have elite O-lines. I mean, lots of times they have pretty good offensive line. But I think the real elite quarterbacks can overcome deficiencies on their team that non-elite quarterbacks can't. Bro, just last year he had 8 for 144 against the Pats. Miller, are you talking one game out of... See what you're saying there? You're naming a game, one game a year. That's a wide receiver one. That's elite wide receiver play. Like, come on. You're naming one game. One game. How many games did Jamar Chase have last year with those stats? How many games did Justin Jefferson have last year with those stats? Come on, let's be real. If you think Jalen Waddle is number one, you're mistaken. You're mistaken. Let's be real. If we didn't trade that draft pick away and we drafted Jamar Chase instead of Jalen Waddle, this team would be in a way different position. Way different position. We would have never had the trade for Tyreek Hill. We would have never had the trade for Tyreek Hill, which means we would have had all those draft picks. We would have had all that salary cap. Maybe Miller, but guess what? It's not just about Tua. Again, you can't change the narrative. We would have if we gave Tannehill the players that we gave Tua, we would have won a playoff game. In 2023, would we have won a playoff game with Tannehill instead of Tua? No, why? Because everybody on the team was hurt. So it doesn't matter who you gave them because everybody was hurt. And then the other years, Tua was hurt. I mean, it just is what it is. You're comparing true number ones who get the targets to Jalen Waddle, who doesn't get targets even as a number two. Listen, if you're that good, you're going to demand targets. Miller, if you're that good, you're going to demand targets. Again, you got to go by what the beat writers say. They say they can't remember practices where Jalen Waddle goes out and dominates, where he's getting the same amount of opportunities as Tyreek Hill. They said they've known numerous times where Tyreek shows up to practice, says, I'm going to dominate today, and goes out there and dominates. Goes out there and dominates. They said they can't remember a time where Jalen Waddle came in the practice and dominated, where people came off the practice field and said, you just couldn't cover Jalen Waddle today. They've never said that. They've never done that. It's never happened. It's never happened. I don't think so. Is there missed opportunities with Waddle? Absolutely. 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 Tua misses them. There's missed opportunities. Because his stats be better? Absolutely. I'm not just talking about stats, though. I'm not punishing him for the stats. I'm just saying from the eye test, the guy's not the number one receiver. And you guys are forgetting that the defense is focused in on Tyreek. And Jalen Waddle still can't dominate his side of the ball. Jalen Waddle should be eating up team's number 2 corner. Jalen Waddle should be so wide open that he's forced to be given the ball. Imagine Jamar Chase facing everybody else's number 2 cornerback. Imagine Jamar Chase if the defense is focused in solely on Higgins. Big C, isn't it the same scenario with Devontae Smith? What about Devontae Smith? Yes, listen, I'm not going to sit here and deny that. Has Tua missed Waddle before? Absolutely. Absolutely he has. Tua's not a perfect quarterback. There's lots of players that get missed every day. Every day. Every game, a player's wide open that a quarterback misses them. I mean, Bonnie, I think Waddle is what he is. He's a very good number 2. If you don't got it by year 7, are you really ever going to get it? I'm Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We're going to be doing some open fan panels. I got to figure out what day we're going to do those. When football season comes, things are going to change a little bit. My work schedule might be changing up a little bit here. So Monday and Tuesdays might start being like a pre-recorded, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday we'll go live. Saturdays, I want to say maybe we do a open fan panel Friday nights. Maybe. If we are creating a new definition for what a wide receiver 1 is, then okay, I'll give you that. What definition? A wide receiver 1, in my opinion, especially where he was drafted, he was a top 10 pick. He's a top 10 pick. By definition, wide receiver 1 is a player that will automatically start on an NFL roster as a wide receiver number 1. I don't know if you can go by that. I'm sure there's teams in this league that have players that wouldn't be our number 3, that wouldn't be our top 2 receivers. So, I mean, is there a wide receiver on the Cleveland Browns that their number 1 would be our number 2? No. Can Waddle be the best wide receiver on a team? Yeah, he can be the best wide receiver on a team. But my definition of a true number 1 receiver is that no matter who you bring to this team, you gonna be there. You a top 5 player. You a top 10 player. No, I like Waddle. I do like Waddle. I think Waddle's a good number 2. Is he a top 10? Is he worthy of a top 10 pick? No. Is he a Jamar Chase? No. Is he a Justin Jefferson? No. Is he a Tyreek Hill? No. But is he a good player? Absolutely, he's a good player. I mean, you can bring that talk all you want, but I mean, the facts are the facts. And again, you got to go. It's not my fact. It's not a fact that it's my opinion. So Waddle is better than Jerry Jeudy, 100%. Waddle or Puka? You got to go Puka. Is Waddle more athletic? Probably, yeah, but Puka don't drop the ball. You know what I mean? Yeah, Bonnie, you got to get on there and rep the females, girl. I'm not saying Waddle can go to a certain team, be the best receiver on the team. That's, you know what I mean? That's not my definition of a number 1 receiver is you the cream of the crop. You the cream of the crop at your position. You can go be the best, you know what I mean? Best receiver on a bum team. I agree Puka's not a number one either. I agree, Aqua. I don't think Puka's a number one either. He's not athletic enough for me. Puka's probably the number one slot type receiver in the NFL. That over the middle Wes Walker type player. But I don't put Puka in the same conversation as Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill. He gets a lot of volume. He'll have the stats, but I just don't put him in that same realm. I don't think Puka dominates. I think you could take Puka out the game. He just feeds him over that middle all the time. Puka's not going to take the top off the defense like that. He's going to get you first down after first down, but he ain't going to take the top off. Devontae Adams and Puka should be interesting. No more Cooper and Puka. Yeah, Devontae Adams is getting towards the end of his career. I don't know how much he has left in the tank. But if Devontae Adams and Puka in their prime, that'd been filthy. Listen, you can have a certain set of skills. You can be a Liam Nielsen or whatever the hell his name is. I possess a certain set of skills. I don't know if you think Adams is still a number one at this stage of his career. Is he still a number one? Steve Largent or Devontae Adams in their prime. Listen, I can't begin to speak on Steve Largent. You know what I mean? I know he had a fantastic career, but I'd have to watch some film on Steve Largent. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and dismiss Steve Largent because I've seen way more Devontae Adams, and that's the easy way for me to, you know what I mean? That'd be the easy way for me to go, oh, Devontae Adams, because I've watched a lot of Devontae Adams. I haven't watched that much Steve Largent, so you know what I mean? Yeah, I know Steve Largent was like a Wes Walker type. Like I know who he is. I just haven't watched, you know what I mean? I haven't watched enough Steve Largent to be able to give you a fair opinion on that. And I don't want to speak on something that that I'm not sure about. I'm never going to feed you lies or a false opinion or just say something to say it. You know what I mean? I want to be informed about what I say to you guys. I don't want to ever feed you guys bullshit. Cortez Kennedy, defensive tackle beast. He was a beast. Cortez Kennedy, Seattle Seahawks. What? Speed isn't always the deciding factor. Some guys are just great football players who don't run sub 440. 4.4. You're right. I don't think Jerry Rice was ever a 4.4 guy. I don't think Jerry Rice was ever a sub 4.4 guy. But Jerry Rice could still beat you deep. Jerry Rice could still beat you. Big C, you remember David Boston? Yeah, David Boston had probably the perfect physique. I think that caused him some down. He had like a 6% body fat or something. David Boston, I was super excited when we traded for him. Or we signed. I don't know if we traded or we signed him, but yeah, he never lived up to what he was supposed to be. But never caught from behind. Yeah, Richard. I mean, I would say that about Torrey Holt too. Torrey Holt wasn't a super fast guy, but he was a dominant receiver. Isaac Bruce was a You know what I mean? Isaac Bruce wasn't a super fast guy, in my opinion. Mike Evans, 4.5 guy who is pretty damn good. Yeah, that Mike Evans is really good, but Mike Evans is Mike Evans is a different type of receiver though. He's 6'5", uses his body to catch the ball. You know what I mean? So he's even a different type of receiver. Is Mike Evans a number one? Yeah, Mike Evans is a number one, but is he? You know what I mean? It's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope. I think if you go into a season with Jalen Waddle as your number one, I think your offense is going to be limited. I do. Boston, the son of a ref. The guy was a roid head, more muscle than catches. Yeah. Irving Fryer, number one overall pick for the New England Patriots. Irving Fryer was a very good receiver. He was never my favorite here in Miami, though. I was always more lenient towards Mark Ingram and OJ McDuffie. Lawrence Phillips, I do remember Lawrence Phillips. Went to Nebraska. He was a beast. Lawrence Phillips was a beast. But we're getting off topic. Yeah, like I said, Alan Poupart and Omar Kelly said there was lots of instances where Tyreek comes into the building on practice day and is like, I'm going to dominate today. And he goes out there and dominates. They said they don't remember a time where Jalen Waddle has dominated practice. Richard, has he gotten... You're forgetting the fact that he goes against the number 2 corners on everybody's team. Why isn't he dominating? How has he not got a chance to be the number 1 wide receiver? Why? If you put the ball in Jalen Waddle's hands and he makes the plays that Tyreek does, they're not going to get the ball back into his hands. Of course, if Tyreek Hill's not here, Jalen Waddle's going to put up bigger stats. He's going to put up bigger stats than what he does now. Just by volume. But this team's not going to be as good. If you take Tyreek Hill off this team and Jalen Waddle's the top player at wide receiver, how good's this offense? How good you feel about this offense? Now take Jalen Waddle off the team and keep Tyreek. Who has the better stats? Who has the better season? Exactly. He's not eating up the number 2 corner. Defensive coordinators are focusing their game plan on stopping Tyreek Hill, and he's still putting up better numbers than Jalen Waddle. Again, Jalen Waddle's a good player. Nothing but love for Jalen Waddle. But Jalen Waddle is not elite receiver. Is that better? Let's not talk about number 1. Let's not label it that. Jalen Waddle is not an elite receiver. Mojo 87. That's what I've been saying. That if you go back through the comments, Waddle uses his body and jumps all the time for no reason. He jumps and catches the balls at his knees. He jumps and catches the ball at his knees. I see Waddle as a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver when he operates at his best. That'd mean he'd have to be the top 4 wide receivers in the conference. He's not top 4 wide receivers in the conference. He's not a Pro Bowl receiver. He's not a true Pro Bowl receiver. In the AFC, Tyreek Hill's better. Jamar Chase is better. Who else? And like I said, he's very good. I would say that the kid from the Jets is better. I think the kid from the Jets is better, Wilson. The agility, speed, and route running is straight elite. How many times have you seen Waddle outrun the defense? Out of all his catches, how many of them are breakaway touchdowns? Out of all his catches, how many have been breakaway touchdowns? I'm saying when he catches the ball, he scores. Besides catching the ball in the end zone, how many of those plays do you see from him? How many over his career have you seen? When Jalen Waddle typically scores, he's catching the ball in the end zone. Are we at disagreement? He's a 4-3 guy. He's outrunning you. He can't outrun them when he's jumping to catch the ball. Jay says, I don't agree with you, Big C. I think he is a selfish, egotistic, and he is already talking about 2,000 yards. It's a team game. Listen, all these players have individual goals. Tyreek Hill showed you that he wants to win. Tyreek Hill showed you that he wants to win. You've seen it a lot. Jose, you've seen it a lot. Again, Richard, if we can pick one game, if we can pick out one game, that means it doesn't happen a lot. Name the games that Tyreek Hill has had 150 yards rushing or receiving. Name the games that Tyreek Hill's had 150 yards receiving. Oh, wait. There's so many of them that you can't name them. Again, maybe he did put up number 1 receiver numbers. Is Jalen Waddle elite? Miller, go back and watch. He jumps to catch the ball all the time. Is he elite receiver in this league? Is Jalen Waddle elite? Cap, spit it again. What's your opinion? What's your opinion on Waddle? One more time. Raphael, he's probably talking about his one. I don't know. Again, this isn't a bash. This isn't meant to be a bashing of Jalen Waddle. I wish all the success for him in the world. I'm a fan of Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle is not elite. You know what I mean? Mojo said 87. If Hill leaves, this wide receiver core is mid. Absolutely. Waddle 22 touchdowns, Higgins 34 touchdowns. 2022, 17 games, 75 receptions, 1,356 yards, 8 touchdowns. Timothy Washington, maybe, I just find it hard that a player is going to grow that much after 7 years. I just think he is what he is, you know what I mean? And what he is a very good player. He's a very good player. He's just not an elite wide receiver. Can he be the number one wide receiver on this team? Yeah, but this wide receiver room will be not as good. If he's the number one wide receiver on this team, then the receiving room is not as good. Again, he's facing the defense's number 2 corner. He's facing a defense that is primarily focused on stopping Tyreek Hill. The safeties creep over the Tyreek Hill side. If someone's double covered, it's Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle gets all them single coverages. Single high safety is leaning towards Tyreek's side. And Waddle still doesn't put up elite numbers. I don't know, Richard. Someone had said 7 years. And I was just keep going off that. That might be my mistake. Someone had said 7 years. That's my bad. I wasn't really thinking. I just seen the 7 and went with it. Waddle is an elite athlete, not quite an elite player just yet. I'll give you that. EM. He's probably an elite athlete. I'll give you that. I just think if he was open consistently, he'd get the ball. I don't think that McDaniel would be like, hey, Waddle's open every play, throw it to Tyreek still. I don't believe that would be the case. But again, you don't got to take my word for it. You can have your opinion. Tyreek has only had 9 games over 150 yards. What, since he's been in Miami? Because he had 4 or 5 of them in 2023, I'm pretty sure. And Miller, how many has Waddle had? Again, you don't got to go by my word. I'm not going to be able to change you guys' opinion, and that's cool. That's cool. Your opinion's your opinion. Your opinion's your opinion. But listen to the guys that see it. Listen to the guys that see it firsthand. Jalen Waddle doesn't dominate in practice. Given the same amount of opportunities as Tyreek Hill. Do you think Jalen Waddle sits on the sideline? They just throw the ball to Tyreek Hill 100 times and Jalen Waddle gets 10 passes at practice? No. They do equal amounts at practice, and Waddle doesn't dominate. Tyreek Hill dominates. if they trade Tyreek, they're in trouble. 9 in Miami. He's only been here 3 years, bro. He's only been here 3 years. He's only been here 3 years. Waddle has had an 84-yard reception. One. I don't want to be arguing. I don't want to keep having a disagreement. My opinion, Jalen Waddle is a good number 2. Can he be the number 1 receiver on a team? Yeah. But that receiving core is not very good. That receiving core is probably not going to be that great. That's my opinion. And I'm going based on my eyes, what I see, and I'm going based on what the beat writers who see these guys practice every day say. And that's all I can go by. That's what I can go by. But this wasn't meant to be a Jalen Waddle bashing session. Again, I think he's a good player. Hopefully he can continue to grow. I think it's going to be hard, though. I think after 7 years, you are who you are. But hopefully he continues to grow. Hopefully, if he's given the opportunity, and I'm sure he's going to be given. We're only a year away from really seeing Jalen Waddle's probably going to be the number 1 next year. So we'll see if he can duplicate Tyreek Hill. But please make sure you hit that like button. If you're on X, please come join us on the Fin Posse podcast on YouTube. I'm going to cut out for now. I will see you all tomorrow. I love you all. Thank you for having this fun debate. Don't get in your feelings too much. I mean, each of us can have our own opinions and still love the Miami Dolphins. I still want the very best for Jalen Waddle. I want him to succeed. I hope he has 20 touchdowns this year. I really do. This is Waddle's 5th year again. Yeah, that's my bad. Someone had put 7 and I just went with it for some reason. I really didn't sit there and take a second to be like, hold on. But yeah, that's my bad, Richard. Someone had wrote that the 7 years something and I just went with it. That's my fault. I apologize. But I love you all. Thank you all so much for joining me. Listen, I appreciate the hell out of you. We can have these healthy debates and still want the same things for this football team, all the success in the world. You all have a blessed day, and you know what it is. Fins up till we die, baby. Peace out. Have a great day. Peace.
Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check is I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain that's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they see me. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try to change, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place. I wanna be first, work till it hurts. Dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds. They can stay soft, you can change lives, you create thoughts, never waste time. You got one shot, you got one life, better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss, just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing